A brief history, Cuban Missile Crisis and the threat of nuclear war. Welcome to this video on the Cuban Missile Crisis and the threat of nuclear war. In this video, we will explore one of the most tense and dangerous periods in world history. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a political and military standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union that lasted for 13 days in October 1962. This crisis is considered the closest the world has ever come to nuclear war. In this video, we will discuss the historical context, the events that led to the crisis, and its aftermath. We will also examine the impact of this event on international relations and its legacy. Chapter 1: Historical Context. In 1959, Fidel Castro, a communist revolutionary, came to power in Cuba. This was a significant development in the Cold War, as Cuba is located only 90 miles from the United States. The US had always considered Latin America to be within its sphere of influence, and the Soviet Union saw an opportunity to expand its own sphere of influence by supporting Cuba. Chapter 2: Events leading to the crisis. In 1961, the US government attempted to overthrow Fidel Castro in what became known as the Bay of Pigs invasion. The invasion failed, which only strengthened the Cuban government's relationship with the Soviet Union. In response, the Soviet Union began to install nuclear missiles in Cuba. This move was a direct threat to the United States, as it meant that Soviet missiles could now reach the US mainland in just a matter of minutes. President Kennedy demanded that the missiles be removed, and a tense standoff began. Chapter 3: The crisis unfolds. During the crisis, both the US and Soviet Union engaged in a game of brinkmanship, with each side threatening the other with military action. The US imposed a naval blockade around Cuba to prevent the delivery of Soviet missiles. The Soviet Union responded by sending ships carrying missiles to Cuba. The world watched anxiously as tensions continued to escalate, with both sides preparing for war. Chapter 4: Resolution and Aftermath. Finally, a resolution was reached. The Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba in exchange for a US guarantee not to invade Cuba and a secret agreement to remove US missiles from Turkey. The crisis was over, but the impact of the event was significant. The world had come dangerously close to nuclear war, and it was clear that something needed to change in international relations to prevent a similar crisis from happening again. Chapter 5: Legacy of the Missile Crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis had a profound impact on international relations. It highlighted the importance of communication and diplomacy, and it led to the establishment of a direct communication link between the leaders of the US and the Soviet Union, known as the Hotline. The crisis also led to a rethinking of nuclear strategy, with both sides recognizing the importance of arms control and disarmament. Today, the world continues to grapple with the threat of nuclear war, and the lessons of the Cuban Missile Crisis remain as relevant as ever. Thank you for watching.